9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Bethany Van Delft, and this is the 10 News, where we get the lowdown on what's up in the world. Eureka! It's Tuesday, June 8th, and today we are talking about those aha moments, from inventions to innovation, and especially entrepreneurs. So let's get to the 10. Do me a favor. Take a look around where you are right now.
Okay.
Maybe you're listening to this podcast from a phone, or maybe there's a light bulb near you, or you could be wearing denim jeans. What do all of those things have in common? They were all invented by somebody. A lot of times we think of a new invention as a legendary eureka moment. You've heard the stories. A crazy scientist who always seems to have wacky hair walks out of the lab holding a brand new invention that will change the world. But in reality, people who study inventions say that creating new things is a slow process, sometimes with lots of stops and starts. And inventors also build on things that have come before them. This past year, a company built a smart home for bees that uses AI to monitor the pollinators and keep them safe. And MIT engineers recently designed a headset that allows you to talk to your computer without typing on a keyboard or even opening your mouth.
That's unbelievable.
Instead, it reads signals from your head as if you asked a question aloud. That's cool, but it feels a little scary. Just me? The real question is, what will the world's amazing innovators think of next? Sometimes all it takes is one big idea to change the world. And that can come from anyone, like an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur what? An entrepreneur is someone who starts a new business. And for a business to succeed, you've got to have a good idea. Our correspondent, Ryan Nurs, talked to Daniela Blanco, an engineer and inventor who's featured in a new National Geographic documentary called Own the Room. In it, 5 student entrepreneurs take their brand new business ideas to a global contest where they could win $100,000 to start one themselves. Take it away, Ryan.
Innovation is taking two things that already exist and putting them together in a new way. That's a quote from one of the founding members of MTV, a cable TV network created by combining two things that already existed, music and television, in a new way. And that formula definitely applies to the work of Daniela Blanco, an engineer and inventor who's featured in a new documentary on Disney Plus called Own the Room. Daniela grew up in Venezuela. As a kid, she wanted to study science like her mother, who's a civil engineer.
In Venezuela, pretty much all of our economy actually depends on the oil industry. So I grew up dreaming that I would be a chemical engineer and that I would support the petrochemical industry.
After Venezuela began to struggle with political problems, Daniela hoped to finish her education in America. She was accepted to study for a PhD at New York University. But her education had taught her just how bad the oil industry can be for the environment. And it really bothered her.
My vision has been to make the chemical industry more sustainable.
One chemical product made from oil is nylon. You probably have a jacket or something hanging in your closet right now that's made of nylon. So Daniela started thinking and... Bam! She had that sudden light bulb eureka moment. What if she could make nylon using a process that's more sustainable for the environment?
And I thought it was a brilliant idea, to go out there and make such an important material using solar energy.
Daniela started researching how to combine two things, nylon and solar energy, in a new way. But she quickly realized she didn't want to just invent something new in the hopes that someone else would someday make it a reality.
I think that there was a moment when I realized that I didn't want to just make the technology. I wanted to also make sure that it made it to the market.
Basically, Daniela realized she wanted to become an entrepreneur, which required pitching her business idea so that she could get startup money to make it happen. The problem was, she didn't know how to be a businesswoman. So she did what people do these days.
Well, we pretty much Googled everything. We didn't even know the vocabulary for it. So we just Googled everything. I read books. I went through also a lot of videos on YouTube. And I signed up for all of the business classes that I could find.
Daniela and her partner named their business Synthetics. But despite all this sciencey, businessy hard work, Daniela found a way to make it fun. Her lab partner says she's always listening to Latin pop music in her big purple headphones.
If you're going to have to spend 8 hours in the lab, you might as well be having fun and kind of dancing a little bit around the place.
While researching, Daniela found out about a competition called the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards, or GSEA. She applied, prepared, and she won the entire American competition. Meanwhile, the filmmakers behind the documentary Own the Room decided to follow Daniela, along with 5 other young people from countries including Kenya and Nepal, as they strove to win the global finals. Here's an excerpt from the trailer.
My mom told me, you have a story that deserves to be heard. I'm so sorry.
Everybody that comes here wants to win.
The companies that exist right now were made by someone. So why can't that someone be us?
Recognize that voice? Daniela obviously has very ambitious goals. And she says that being a woman in male-dominated fields like science and business has never bothered her at all.
I think it shows us that our limitations are only in our head. I'm going to tell you a fun fact. In Venezuela, for some reason that I still don't understand, over 90% of the class of chemical engineering is actually female. I hope we'll all remember that the goal is really not to have a girl or a boy or a woman or a man in some position. We are all people who live in one planet. We all do things to help each other. So it doesn't matter, if somebody says that a field is for some type of people. That is not true. It is for all of us, for whoever wants to fight that battle to do something good for us.
Well, I won't spoil the ending of the documentary. But let's just say Daniela has done very well with her pitches to fund her business. So far, Synthetics has raised a whopping $650,000. So don't be surprised if someday soon your nylon jacket is made by energy from the sun. And don't be surprised if you see Daniela Blanco at the front of the stage addressing a crowd like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. And if you have dreams of your own, in science or any other field, well, Daniela has some advice for you.
Don't be afraid of thinking big, of dreaming big, and of something that you don't know how to do yet, because you'll be able to figure it out. That's the magic of science. You keep trying, you do experiments. It might fail the first 100 times, but on the 101, it's going to work. So don't be afraid.
Thanks, Ryan and Daniela. We cannot wait to see this incredible idea take the world by storm. To watch the documentary yourself, you can stream it on Disney+. Now let's check in on some headlines. In Texas last week, Democrats walked out of the building instead of casting a vote for a new restrictive voting rights bill. It was an unexpected turn of events for the vote, which was being closely watched around the country. Critics say the bill targets voters of color, and it's expected to make voting by mail harder and make election results easier to overturn. In Tennessee, a group of bears decided to crash a high school party. In a video, 7 black bears can be seen climbing over the gated pool area to take a dip. Does this story sound familiar? There have been a few viral videos of pool-loving bears over the years, and that's because as the weather warms up, bears look for ways to cool down. They're just like us. And your boss battle just got bigger. Ever wanted to play Fortnite on the silver screen? As movie theaters around the world reopen, Some are renting out space for gamers to come in and play on the big screen. And last but not least, today is National Best Friends Day. So, just a reminder to tell your bestie how much you appreciate them today and every day.
Guess what? I love you. I love you. I love you.
And now for your
What?
What's the big idea?
Trivia on the 10. The engineer who developed the microwave actually got the idea after something strange happened to him. What was it? Was it A, after he surfed some really small waves? B, when a candy bar melted in his pocket? Or C, when his leftovers weren't warm enough? Did you guess it? The answer is B. One day, engineer Percy Spencer was working with military-grade magnetrons, which were part of early radar technology. While he was working, Spencer stuck his hand in his pocket to find that his peanut cluster treat had melted. Not only did Spencer have to wash his pants, he also determined that radio waves produced by the magnetron were why his snack softened. Soon, the company Spencer was working for started selling the first microwave, called the Radar Range. It was a beast of an appliance. It weighed about 750 pounds and cost more than $2,000.
Whoa.
Today, we still use radio waves to cook our food, but thankfully, they weigh and cost less than the original. And think about it. Whether you're popping popcorn for movie night or warming up yesterday's lunch, you can cook knowing that microwave technology began with melted pocket candy. Inspiration is even in your sticky pocket. Time's up. But before we go, here's a quick note for the grown-ups. Thanks for listening to the 10 News. Look out for our new episodes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and extras on Saturdays. You can go deeper into today's stories by visiting the10news.com. The 10 News is a co-production of Small But Mighty Media and Next Chapter Podcasts and is distributed by iHeartRadio. The 10 News creative team are all checking their pockets to get ideas for their next inventions and includes Kate Hale, Tracy Crooks, Pete Musto, Jenna Pasqua, and Sarah Olander. Ryan Nurse contributed to this episode. Our production director is Jeremiah Tittle, and our executive producers are Donald Albright and show creator Tracy Leeds Kaplan. I'm Bethany Van Delft, and thanks for listening to the 10 News. Why did the bear cross the road? To go to the pool party, of course.